Hello, everyone, and welcome to this live reading session with me, Hannah. We're going to be doing some live readings this evening. See who joins if anybody is interested on this Saturday. And what I'll do even is I'll just wait a second to see who joins. And if you are interested, of course, in booking a mini reading this evening, then the instructions are in the description box. Okay. Let me know. What I'll do, like I say, is I will wait patiently, see if anybody joins, anybody is interested. Okay. I hope you are having a lovely weekend anyway. Hope it's going well. Okay. Just give it some time for people to join. See if anybody is interested. I see that some people are starting to join the live stream, so I will repeat what I previously said. If you're interested in booking a mini reading with me this evening, the instructions are down below. But also, do you know what? If nobody joins or nobody's interested today specifically, that's okay too. That means I can chill, I can take some time to myself. I am a projector in human design, so I do often need a lot of rest. A lot of rest. But I hope that the instructions below are pretty straightforward. I think they are. I'll even just check on YouTube. Do, 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 do. Hi, S. Welcome to you. We'll see who else chimes in. Could be suggested that today, energetically speaking, isn't the best day for live readings, given the astrology. There's a lot going on in the world right now as well. I understand that as well. But let's give it a moment. And sure, if no one's really interested, that's fine. I can stop and then maybe try this again another time. It's all good. You're a projector as well. Nice. Okay. So what you would do when you feel completely drained, when someone may have sucked your energy out. Oh, yeah. Rest definitely would be the number one thing. And I'm going to be honest with you, I have felt a bit meh today, and probably energetically, I should be resting myself. So I'm saying that, but I'm being a massive hypocrite because oftentimes I don't follow that. But yeah, I would say rest. And even if you enjoy going for a walk, or maybe you enjoy doing something specifically, maybe you have a hobby or a passion, then whatever you can do to refuel your energy a little bit. And also, I've heard that when it comes to projectors, studying a certain system is really quite useful. So maybe there's that if you're interested in maybe learning more about astrology. Of course, I don't know your experience with astrology. You could be quite advanced, but yeah, astrology wise, you could learn about that. You can learn about other systems. Yeah, apparently projectors have a lot of energy for studying and for learning. And by doing so, then that can help us with guiding other people. Often that guidance too, I just want to say, it can be indirectly. But yes, to answer your question, just whatever works for you in terms of recharging. If that is getting outdoors, if that's exercising, if that's reading a book, maybe it's painting, some kind of hobby. Is there also something like a bad week for projectors, like how it's for certain signs? Oh, that's an interesting question, I guess. You're really hitting on a valid point of combining astrology with human design. Oh, you have. You've been studying for over a year now. That's excellent. Great. Happy to hear it. Um, maybe in a way for projectors when the energy does feel quite tense, because we do tend to pick up on people's energy quite a lot. I guess it's that we also can see into other people quite a bit. Especially the way the week has been. It's been quite chaotic, tense. It's been quite heavy for many people given the squares between Saturn, Neptune, and Jupiter, and also with the square between Mars and Uranus. But yeah, I think that that's a valid question, and I'm glad that you raised it. Maybe in that way, yeah, when the astrology, energetically speaking, it's not so aligned, that could be hard. I'm also going to say this for me personally, and I'm just speaking from personal experience, and maybe this could also touch on the question that you just asked. But I find that at the beginning of the year, especially because Mars was retrograde in Cancer, that was hard for me. I could not, I couldn't deliver as much. I couldn't do as much. And that is said then typically for a lot of people, given the astrology, given Mars retrograde there in Cancer. But for me, energetically, it was a lot. And I was somewhat relieved to see Venus and Mars move into fire signs a few months later. So yeah, I think that's a great question. And hello to hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Kathy, or Keith Pace. Hi to you, welcome. And also, yes, to get a live chart reading, SK2888. The instructions are down below. I need date of birth, time of birth, place of birth, but of course, you need to go through the payment link in the description box. And yes, in that way, I'd be happy to answer questions for you based on your chart. And thank you to US. Also, I want to say to you, good luck with you continuing your studies. I hope that you're enjoying it. I think that's also a thing with projectors. It's important to enjoy the process. It's to have fun. And it needs to feel energetically aligned. I think that that's probably one of the most important things for projectors. It's feeling energetically aligned, or the other thing I suppose is to be recognized, right? Maybe you've had that before, where you have felt overlooked or not recognized, and it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And that within itself can help you redirect things. I know that's happened for me, certainly. Within my business, times whenever I have felt a bit like this person isn't recognizing me, or this doesn't feel right, or I get that bitterness, it kind of helps me then redirect myself and try something else or do something differently. Yeah. I am perfectly fine, by the way, if no one's interested this evening, because I guess I could do with some rest. I could. I could. I know myself energetically. I'm not really showing up. I obviously put up the video a couple of days ago and I felt more aligned. Maybe that's the thing with projectors too. Especially for me anyway. I've got emotional authority, so I can be like this, like up and down, up and down. Yeah. In the moment, you're like, yes, I've got all this energy and I can do that. And then a couple of days later, not so much, not so much. But what I will say, if no one's really interested in booking during this live session, you can always book a reading with me on my website, hannahselsewhere.com. And that reading then is a lot longer and a bit more detail, obviously, to it, a bit more in depth. And that way, then we can explore your chart. So, just to let you know. I find as well with projector, being a projector life, the whole hard sell stuff usually doesn't work very well for projectors. We have to really focus on soft selling. Uh, so rather than creating this sense of, I guess, urgency for people or pushing on other people to buy something or to purchase a certain product that you've created, rather than doing that, it's actually important to be a lot more gentle and a lot more soft and calm with it. At least that's what I'm coming to learn and I'm coming to understand about projectors. Do I use equal house? I can use equal house. I can use whatever house system you want me to use, basically. Stephen, thank you for your question. Leah, my short answer to you is no. I don't know. I don't know where you maybe got that advice from, but no, you're not doomed. I don't see any placement as doomed. I mean, I'm just gonna say, what does that even mean, right? What does it mean when someone is doomed? Well, like, what does that mean? Does that mean that like your life is over? That's gonna be terrible forever? I don't feel it like that. And Chloe, hi to you. Yes, so the instructions are in the description if you're interested. So you book through the link, and then I'll need your time of birth, date of birth, and your place of birth. Yeah, when it comes to astrology language, I try not to be super definitive about it or final, to be so final where people don't feel like they have any kind of control, because it's like, who am I to tell somebody that they don't have that control, right? Yeah. Well, it's been 15 minutes, so I think I'm just going to get going because yeah, I think that's probably the best option. Where am I based? I am based in Northern Ireland. Yes, Northern Ireland. Leah, you feel dim like your life will be terrible forever. Well, I'm sorry that you feel that way. And obviously, then there must be a reason for why you feel that way. So, your feelings are valid. I just want to say that. Uh, but at the same time, that's the thing. It can be a big process when it comes to really really hard feelings, hard emotions. It is certainly a process. But what I will say is that never give up hope. Yes, you said should wait a couple more minutes. And Chloe, you say that you're trying to do it now. No problem. Okay, great. Great. Let's read your chart then. Let's see what comes through. I'll give it a couple more minutes then. But I appreciate you just chatting with me anyway in the chat. Why is it different? So it's just based on the different house systems, the way those systems are measured. Um, a lot of it, of course, is a lot more scientific, a lot more mathematical than what I can really get into right now to explain. Even trying to like shorten it down, but to say that there are many house systems that are available, and I guess a lot of it is dependent on the astrologer or the astronomer who discovered that house system based on their own calculations of the skies. Excuse me. So it's very historical. Yeah, it's a lot to explain, Stephen. It's all about how the heavens above are split up. Okay, so Chloe, great. Amazing. Well, Chloe, I need to ask you then. I need your time of birth, your date of birth, and your place of birth, please. Also, you don't have to put it into the chat if you want to email me that information, because I know some people are okay with having their information seen, but some others are not. So you can email me hannahselsewhere at outlook.com. Yeah. Yeah. So, Stephen, I guess just one example would be with the whole sign. That's a much more Hellenistic technique. It would be considered more traditional, where each of the houses align with the signs exactly, right? It's that 360-degree wheel with each sign being 30 degrees, and then each house is 30 degrees. But other house systems show up differently, especially based on, as I was saying a moment ago, based on the astrologer or the astronomer who really discovered that or calculated that. And woke one's revolution. If you would like that, great. Just go to the instructions down below. Okay. Okay, Chloe, I am just going to enter your information. If you give me a moment, please. Thank you. Um, Okay. Okay. 2. Bring that over there. Yeah. 2. 2. All right, great. Chloe, can I ask you, please, have you ever had your chart read before? So yeah, I'm just curious, have you ever had your chart read before? You don't have to tell me by who or anything like that. I'm literally asking just more so based on your own experience and what you've discovered about your chart. So will we be able to see the chart? Yes. Yeah, I'm going to be presenting the chart here because Chloe said, basically Chloe was okay with showing her birth information. So it's presented in this way, but for people who for people who maybe don't want their information shown, but they can have their chart shown, I can edit the top part out. Okay, so just in case maybe that's something you're interested in and maybe you're a bit iffy about having your information shown. Okay, so Chloe, you said recently you had your chart read at a spiritual fair for the first time. It was 2 months ago. You've been studying for yourself for 4 years now, but you're new to getting your chart read. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you for sharing that, and how amazing that you've been studying for 4 years. That is brilliant. Right. Well, I am going to have a look at your chart and let's just explore a bit of this. Of course, just to mention that this is a mini reading. And to clarify that if anyone is interested in booking a full reading with me, you can go to hannahselsewhere.com. Thank you so much. And also, I'll not be reading the chat whilst I'm reading the chart. Okay, so I just need to focus on the chart. And then if you have anything else you want to say after, then I'll read the chat. Okay. Okay. So let me have a look. Right, what I'm going to do then is I am going to explore your big 3 to begin with and go from there. That's where I feel called mostly. All right, so what do I mean by your big 3? This would entail the ascendant, the sun, and the moon. So let's begin with the ascendant. The ascendant is in the sign of Scorpio. So this can suggest that your very outlook on life it's quite deep, it's quite profound. There's always something new to observe, analyze, and study. I see this as you being such a deep diver, a deep researcher, because the planet of intellect, the planet of education and communication, Mercury, is also conjunct the ascendant. So often, perhaps others, perceive you as quite a private person, or there can, of course, be times when you come across as somewhat charismatic, because Scorpio as an archetype can be quite charismatic. You can also come across as this focused person, right? Where you possess this really powerful focus where nothing can shake you. um, I'm also going to say that with Venus, okay, so Venus, the planet of attraction, beauty, nearby, so Venus is also conjunct the ascendant. Well, this also indicates that you're quite a fashionable person, perhaps quite stylish, but in a way that's you could appear mysterious, you could appear quite seductive. It's almost like you hold a lot back. You hold so much back, and you don't let just anybody in. It takes a long time to really get to know you and to pull back the layers. And also, I think that trust is massive for you, to feel like you can trust other people, especially when we think about relationships and love, because Venus is also about relationships and love. So indeed, I think trust is vital. My goodness. Plus, I am also going to say um that intimacy is very important to you as well, right? An intimate connection, an intimate bond. And hey, that's not just in a asexual way. That is also about emotion, right? So to feel this emotional connection, I'm also getting from this that when it comes to relationships, that is what you crave. That's what you need. Now that we have explored this ascendant area a little bit, let's move on to the sun. So, whilst the ascendant is like the very first impression you give off, it's a big part of your identity. It's a big part of, I suppose, in a way, your armor, your your skin, your appearance. The sun, on the other hand, the sun is so much about your expression, how you how you express yourself. It's your light. Your light. It's your essence. So, to have the sun in the sign of Libra, I think that you are quite a relationship oriented person. I think that you value beauty, harmony, peace, balance. Of course, with that being said, often in life, peace and harmony and balance are not present, right? So maybe for you, it can feel like a major balancing act where you're trying to weigh out your options, you're trying to see, what works, what doesn't work. And I'm also going to say that I see some part of this that can feel a bit frustrating for you, especially whenever you go home at night, whenever you go to bed at night, maybe on your own, behind the scenes, there's just so much that you're thinking about. I imagine you being someone who needs to process the day, but I also imagine you being someone who needs, like, you need to unwind. You need some time in solitude to process and to be out of the public eye. I think in a massive way, you really enjoy your time in solitude. It could even be a case of you and your significant other, you and a close friend, you and it could be a parent, it could be a loved one. You need that time with them. What I'm getting from this is spending one-on-one time with others is something that brings you a lot of joy and peace and inner calm. So there is that. Now, as for the moon is certainly much deeper, and the moon is so close to us. It's our emotional landscape, it's how we feel on the inside. So, the moon is in Sagittarius, this explorer, this adventurer. So to have the moon in this position, I see this as you valuing your independence. Oh my goodness. You really value your independence. You need to feel like you have space to roam and you have freedom to explore. I also look at this through a lens of your finances and what you can spend your money on. What I get from this is you feeling like you need to be able to purchase what you want when you want. It could be that sort of energy. But it could also be a case, even of you giving generously to others, generously to your loved ones, spreading this message of, I want to share this with you, or let's explore together, let's go on adventures together, because the sun and the moon are also making this beautiful sextile, right? This means that the sun and moon are in harmony with one another in your chart. Of course, however, Pluto is nearby. Pluto is so much about the underworld, right? Pluto, the god of the underworld, really highlighting some deeper facets. So I am going to say there could be some themes here to do with power struggles within your households. I'm thinking about your parents, your caregivers, and blockages, challenges. I'm thinking about resistance to change as well. I'm also thinking here about feeling suffocated a little bit, suffocated in a way where you didn't feel free, and maybe it's like the first opportunity that you got to be able to move or be able to do something for yourself, you took it. There's a need, you see, with the moon. There's such a need. So the need here is freedom, essentially. And what do we also see? We also see Uranus in the fourth house itself. So there is that connection between Pluto and Uranus, suggesting your rebellion, suggesting this part of you that, well, that the part of you that rebelled against your family, or it could even be that there was a lot of turbulence, a lot of chaos, within your home. Maybe also this is about you establishing a home where you feel free, right? You have that freedom, you have that independence. Plus, I think a big part of this is about your own personal development, your own personal growth, because Uranus even is making that trying to Jupiter in the chart. And Jupiter is so much about our growth, how we expand. So this is about expansion of the mind. This is about learning. And for you then, I think if we were to circle this back to your emotional security and your emotional needs, for you, Chloe, I just think that having a mind of your own is so, so important. Okay, well, that was your mini reading, Chloe. Let me see. There we go. And I want to say, Chloe, thank you so much. Okay, Kayla. Hi, Kayla. Let me have a look here. Brilliant. Thank you, Kayla. Let me have a look and just see information. Great. I have your information here, and I'm just going to take a minute to enter it into my system. Okay. Again, Chloe, thank you. I hope that was helpful. I hope it was interesting. What is that? Sorry, S. I'm not sure what that is. Hemoglobin? I don't know what that is. It looks like a word. When I signed it out, I'm like, oh, okay. I think I've heard of that before, but I have no idea what it is. So if you can let me know. Okay. Oh, brilliant. Yay. Amazing, Chloe. I'm happy. I'm happy to help. Thank you so much for booking. And thank you for keeping up with the content. Great. Okay. So, Kayla. Yep. Correct. Okay. Double checking your information. Okay, great. And to answer your question, S, you know what? I think you could be very correct there. Because let me tell you, whenever I was a kid, and as I'm communicating this, I'm getting your chart ready, Kayla. But when I was a kid, I remember I fainted. Um, and I fainted because my iron was low. So you could be there. Maybe I should get iron supplements or something. I'm not sure. Maybe I should eat more red meat. But yeah, do you get that at all? Do you ever struggle with that? Okay, so chart. Kayla. Let's see. Should be us. Great. Okay, I need to just read your question and have a look. Career. Political science and social justice and peace in university. The courthouse. Okay, let me see. Grab this and I'm gonna get some transits on the go. Just trying to get some timing techniques to help me out a little bit. All right. Okay, just let me read your question again, Kayla, and then I will get into it. And then, like I was saying previously, when it comes to doing the reading itself, I try not to look at the chat. Yeah, do you know what, S? I'm going to take note of that. Thank you. Hey, you're a projector, right? Thank you so much. You projectors. I'm just going to take note of that. Get iron levels checked. Could be very helpful. So thank you. Okay. Right. Let's focus in again and have a look at this chart. Interesting. Yes. Successful. Mm-hmm. 4, 8, 11. Okay. Right. I am going to break this down to the best of my ability, Kayla. What I find quite interesting about your question is the fact that, well, it did involve what you studied. So social justice especially was something that jumped out at me, given the fact that Libra is located in the 9th house. So the 9th house is about higher education. It's about the likes of university, college, degrees, diplomas, etc. And Libra is this sign of justice. It's a sign of harmony and peace. It's also a sign of law. So to have Mars, this planet of drive, this planet of will in Libra, we can see then this push, if you will, this motivation, this drive within you to perhaps want to study the likes of matters related to social justice and things like that. Okay, so there is that. But equally, the midheaven is about our career. It can shed light on our career, it can shed light on our reputation. The midheaven, in a similar vein, then is also in Libra. And you then mentioned, of course, with you working within a courthouse. So, why am I bringing this up? One, it's just really to hopefully shed some kind of clarity or to shed some light on those connections. So, that's very, very interesting. But then here's the other thing, Chiron is nearby. So, Chiron in this position is also in Libra. So, to have Chiron quite close to the midheaven, this can indicate that, okay, on one hand, there is a part of you that may try to repair or fix, sort out within your career, within your chosen profession. You may help the vulnerable. You may help people within relationships. There could be big themes to do with mediation and offering support. But on the other hand, there could also be this feeling of maybe overwhelmed or feeling a bit stressed out, maybe because of the high demands and the pressures that are involved. So to have Chiron, especially opposite Saturn and very close to Mars, we can see this pressure. This is what I'm getting. It's the pressure of responsibility. It's maybe having to be accountable for so many people. It's maybe about the decisions and the choices that you have to make. And it's sort of like a lot of those decisions and choices, they fall on you. So what I'm really picking up on this overload. I'm picking up even on trying to please everybody, right? Trying to please everyone, trying to support everyone. Plus, I also want to add another thing to this. It's the fact that Pluto is in the 11th house in Sagittarius. So, the 11th house does rule the likes of politics and social concerns, social issues, causes, movements. So to have Pluto there, this can be a massive indicator of you showing up and being a part of profound change or shaking up the status quo, or you even being seen as this person who has a vision. And to follow on from this, of course, Pluto is connecting in with that Aquarius influence for you, right? Aquarius is on the rising. So let me try and take it back a little bit and explain this Aquarius rising, because I can't help but think that this is also going to help us with the whole success question that you asked about, right? So to have Aquarius on the rising, this to me suggests that how you show up as an individual is that, well, you're very much about making a change within the world. You can sort of see things from a bird's eye view, and you can also observe, maybe inconsistencies, things that don't work within society. Maybe there is a big part of you that wants to stand up against authority, that is willing to break rules at times or to push the rules. Uranus is also conjunct the ascendant. So what I'm getting from you is that you're a free thinker. You're a free thinker. And then to further add, Jupiter is in Aquarius. So, in actuality, when we think about certain gifts and talents of yours in this life, my goodness, I think that you can be so good at bringing like-minded people together. I think you can be good at making an impact within society. Your knowledge as well, I'm sure you have so much knowledge to share, so much knowledge to offer. Maybe you have like a zillion ideas, and maybe too, you can often come across as idealistic at times. So there is that. And so what I'm thinking, because you're about to come up to your Saturn return, so your first Saturn return is going to happen over the next few years, right? Because Saturn's in Aries, Saturn is now has now entered Aries, but basically, in layman's terms, here, Kayla, over the next few years, I think that there's going to be greater discipline and solidity when it comes to this idealistic version of yourself. It's almost like you'll be able to be more constructive and more grounded and more practical. So it's that, I guess it's that sort of blend of the ideals with what is more practical and realistic too. So I think these are the kinds of big themes that are going to come up for you. I'm even getting from this, because Saturn will transit your third house leading up to your Saturn return in the next couple of years. I'm getting from this possibly a new path, maybe something to do with, it could be enterprise, it could be self-employment, it could be a new study, a new program, some kind of course, it could be coaching, it could also be related to law enforcement or some other area within law. Essentially, emergency services could be another possibility. But all in all, I just think that learning and education are going to be quite major in your life over the next few years. And so I do see you possibly taking on a new role or heading down a different path. And when we think about it too, you can take the education you've already achieved and acquired, you can take that information with you. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to finish off by pointing towards something else that's quite significant to mention. So, when we bring it back to the midheaven, like I said, the midheaven is about career. It's also about our accomplishments and our achievements, right? And we see these accomplishments and these achievements to do with the likes of law, okay? And your higher education. But when we locate Venus, so the ruler of the midheaven, Venus is in the 8th house in Virgo, and it's there with Mercury. So, what I'm thinking here is, could you possibly could you possibly take a different path that's more occult like? It's more esoteric. It's maybe more about the taboo, or possibly even working with really confidential information. That could be a major area. It could also be this case of working with large sums of money and making sure that it's managed well. Also, what I'm getting from this is health rules, possibly getting into more health conscious rules where you can help people with their own health, with their body, with their mind. Could even be psychology as a possibility here, counseling as another possibility. Though, to finish this off, oh, sorry, just one more thing. The North Node is also in Virgo. So the North Node is about our trajectory. So I am curious about your trajectory. I'm curious about your life path. Maybe it is that you'll want to dive into more of those occult-like areas and subjects, or it could be a case of managing other people's money. And then, like I said previously there, I was trying to finish a thought. Your sun is in Leo. Your sun is in Leo. It's in the 7th house. So this could literally be a case of you working with clients, customers, consumers, putting a lot of the focus on others. I think that's where you are really, really good. When we blend that in with Aquarius, I think you can be very skilled at sort of seeing into other people more individually, and maybe seeing the talents within others, seeing the best in others. So, in this way, hey, maybe you decide to work within public relations or human resources. Okay, Kayla, that was yours. And of course, there's so much more I could say, but there's only so much time, and that was a mini reading. If anyone is interested in booking a full reading with me, you can do so by going to hannahselsewhere.com. Okay, so Katie, nice, great. Let's enter your information. Thank you so much. And Kayla, great, yay. Kayla, amazing. I'm so glad. Thank you so much. Sacrificing a lot of time to help people, pressure and responsibility on you since you were young. Oh, so yeah, your Saturn return over the next couple of years is going to be massive for your autonomy and your independence. Oh, yes, indeed. Okay, Katie. Let me see. Oh, Katie, I need your birth year, please. It's not included here, if that's okay. So just your year of birth, please. Thank you. Um, if I spell that right. Okay. Just see. Oh, sorry. I've got it. Okay, I've got it. No problem. Thank you. Just it was already there and I asked the question. My apologies, but I've got it. Okay. Let me just double check. I have all of the right info. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. All right. Just show this chart then. Was it this one? No, it's the other one. There we go. Okay, great. And 12th house, 5th house, that kind of stuff. You're interested to know a little bit more. Okay, no problem. Just give me a moment so I can look over your information. And also, I'm not going to be reading the chat whilst I explain what I say. Just that'll be more so towards the end. All right. Okay, so more about the 5th house and the 12th house. It's an interesting one, certainly. Why? Why is this interesting? Because The fifth house in astrology is so much about our creativity. It is so much about our individuality and our self-expression. So if you can imagine it like being a child, right? And we get to play and have fun. And as children, we need to separate, right? We need to individuate from our parents. So, in a way, the fifth house can tell us about how we individuate. So, for you, Katie, with Capricorn in the fifth, Capricorn is so not about play, so not about fun. This can suggest that from a very young age, especially with the moon there, because the moon is so much about our childhood or how we were nurtured. From a very young age, what was instilled was that of responsibility, holding yourself accountable, taking responsibility for your actions, learning, learning from mistakes, maybe having to do adult-like things, possibly, maybe having to be the really responsible figure within your household, within your family. But it could also be suggested here that this idea of fun, of play, well, those things were somewhat limited and restricted. This isn't to say that you never had fun, right? It's not to say that, you didn't get to play and things like that at all. I actually do think that there were elements of that, especially with Jupiter in the fifth house as well, because, Jupiter can be about joy, it can be about fulfillment. So, what I'm also picking up on from you is there is some form of enjoyment when it comes to managing things, or we could also look at this through a lens of a certain hobby or an interest or a passion that maybe you decided to turn it into a way of making a living. Or this could be a case of you taking your hobbies, your interests very seriously. So that's another possibility. And the other thing to add to this is the fact that the fifth house can tell us a thing or two about children, especially our first child. This one, okay, the few different ways that this could play out here. Because Saturn is involved, this could be a case of you not having any children. Could be a case of you having children later on in life. Could also be a manifestation here of you taking things rather seriously when it comes to children, right? Making sure that you have everything lined up for them, and you taking on the parental role, the caregiver role in a very serious, dutiful, responsible, orderly way. Okay, so that's interesting to note. Now, as for this Leo stuff, and this is why at the beginning I said this is quite interesting, because Leo is this sign of play. Leo is a sign that just wants to let its hair down and express itself. There's such a warmth to Leo energy. And Leo then is in the 12th house, this hidden house, this locked away house. So there's something really important here for you, I think, Katie. Something really important to do with connecting with your inner child, connecting with fun, doing things that bring you joy, doing things that make you happy. So, if, for example, you had children, right? And you also showed up for your family in this very responsible way, and If also it is that you've been of service for so much of your life and um, you have continuously shown up when it comes to work and your occupation, right? The South Node is in the sixth house of work and service. So if this is the case, I'm thinking that because the North Node is in Leo, the North Node is sort of waving and saying, like, follow me, come towards me a little bit and let me in. What's to be let in? What is to be let in is free time, is it's just to have fun for the sake of fun. It's the beauty of, well, I'm going to say this, self-love. It's the beauty of expressing yourself and also maybe doing fun things, creative things when you're on your own and possibly even surprising yourself, right? Surprising yourself by the kinds of hobbies or interests you do have. What I'm even getting from this is you may not necessarily be very open and very directly expressive or look at me, look at all I'm doing to people. I do see this as you possessing quite a quiet confidence. It's like you don't need to prove anything to prove your worth, or you don't need to push to be seen or recognized. I think that these are the kinds of themes that you've come to learn throughout your life, right? But I do think that if we're to touch on this 12th house area, especially, there's a beauty in coming to know your inner child, to connect with it. And what I'm also just going to say here is the fact that Uranus is there with the North Node. So, with Uranus there, this could even be a case of you aligning with your quirks, with what makes you unique. This could be a case of the unexpected happening when it comes to this stuff. So, if we're to also, in a way, connect this back in with the fifth house, what I'm getting from this is your karma, right? Capricorn's about karma, Saturn's about karma. The 12th house is so spiritual and karmic. When it comes to your karma, I think there is something to be said about allowing yourself to have fun for the sake of having fun. Could even be a case of romance coming into this. You know, we think about romantic relationships. Maybe there was some kind of restrictions there, or you've been used to really long-term committed relationships. But then when we look to Chiron in the seventh house, you know, maybe relationships have came with, well, hard lessons, pain, a lot of pain, a lot of ache, especially with Chiron making that sextile to the moon as well. So, all the more reason, perhaps, then, Kitty, for you to really focus in on the things that bring you joy. And maybe in this way, you can escape into those things. Maybe that's a part of what the North Node is trying to tell you, is trying to teach you. Well, that was that part. Yeah, so no children, Kitty. Yeah. Saturn can often indicate that. I hope I touched on that a little bit with the North Node, with your soul's mission. I think the North Node in Leo, it's more so about individuality. But because it's in the 12th house, there are spiritual lessons that really come up. Could also be a case of some time in solitude, retreating. But what I'm getting from this is escaping into the likes of creative projects. I'm even just thinking about movies, music, art, dance, singing. With Venus, they're also in Leo, Katie. Maybe there is something valuable about performance and entertainment. But this has been a mini reading, and I do want to say thank you for booking, of course, Katie. Let me see. But you are a school counselor as well, you said, Katie. So you work with children. You work with children. I guess, yeah, that is another manifestation of Capricorn in the fifth. There's something about that combination of purpose with children. Well, everyone, let me see if anybody else is wanting to book, but if not, I can call it a day. We can end it there. Let's see. And S, I'm going to take your advice and I'm going to check about my iron levels. Going to check. Okay. Well, yay, that's great. I'm so glad. Thank you, Katie, for booking with me during this session. Elementary. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Oh, I love the connections of astrology. It's really, really good. Well, yeah, I think I'm going to get going then. And if anyone would like to, of course, book a reading with me, you can visit my website, hannahselsewhere.com. Okay. Thank you for chatting with me, especially you, S. It's been good. You've been chatting away with me for the past hour, so that's good. And then also just the people who booked during this session, the video will be left up and you can, of course, come back to it and listen in. Well, everyone, I hope you have a lovely weekend. I know with the way things are right now in the world, it's a lot, but I hope that you do take care of yourselves and you find some kind of peace within it. Be kind to yourselves. Okay, I will talk to you all very, very soon.